It is an incredibly gloomy day today, probably the gloomiest we've had this winter. As you can see, it's completely overcast. I'm sorry if I sound funny in this video, I am recovering from a cold, but nonetheless, I've come out to do some wildlife photography. Today, what I've got with me is the Canon 250D and the Sigma 105 prime lens. The 250D is a fantastic, nippy little camera, while the 105mm lens has an f-stop of 2.8. That means it performs really well in low light conditions. The Sigma 105mm lens is a macro lens, meaning I can get super close to tiny things, and because it's cold, because it's the winter, there's tons of dew on this grass. So, before we get into the POV photography that we're going to be doing today with this setup, let's take some photos of the dew. Before we get started, I'm having a minor technical difficulty. My gimbal has just broke. There's this tiny little rod that holds on the mount so you can put the camera on top. There's this tiny little silver piece, I'm not sure if you can see, and a spring. And it all just popped out of the gimbal. Now this gimbal is relatively new and it's disappointing to see. I'm going to try and put it back together. Hopefully we can get the gimbal working so we can get some cool shots on this video. Oh, I see. Okay. Now if I put that in and push, can I then screw this in there? Oh gosh, this is getting technical. Incredibly fiddly. Oh my gosh, I put it in the wrong way. And we got a couple of photos of the dew, but because of the overcast day, we have no bright light and we have no shadows, and because of that, there's no contrast and the photos aren't looking very dynamic. I may be able to bring something out in editing. Fingers crossed we'll get some okay photos. Now, I'm currently walking through Woodland, which is really not the vibe on an overcast day because it's just so much darker in here. However, I'm going to be coming out onto the canal, which should be good on an overcast day because the water will reflect the little light that we have. Arrived at the river. As you can see, it's opened up. We have a lot more space for light to get through. However, where we've gained light, we've lost shelter. I'm now not protected from the elements, and with an overcast day, you can expect it to start raining. Either way, I promised you some POV. And so now I'm going to attach the camera, the DJI Action 2, which I'm vlogging with, to my chest or to my camera here. Then you're going to be able to see what I'm doing from my perspective. currently following a wren. It's in this bush. Now it's got to come really close for me to get a photo, but I'm going to try my best. And ahead of me on the path, I have a magpie. It's 100% going to fly away before I get close enough. There it goes. It's already flown away. This is proving more of a challenge. Oh, there's two of them now. Hang on. Oh, no, they're both flying away. Gosh, that got even more depressing as time went on. I'm finding it very difficult to find wildlife today. I'm going around the same paths that I would normally go, where we find quite a lot of wildlife. However, I'm guessing because of the bad weather, it also is winter. It's been very wet. Maybe they're all just hiding away. I mean, to be fair, I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. Why would they? You know? I'm going to keep going. I've got a lot more ground to cover. So we will find something, but while we're walking, let's just talk about how to do wildlife photography in low light. Because on a day like today, there's very little light. We want to make sure as much of that light as possible gets into our camera. So here are the settings I'm using mainly today. I have 1/125th of a second for my shutter. That's higher than the 105mm I have on this lens, which means that anything should be caught still. A flying bird, I would up that for. And a bird that's sitting, I would probably down it for. But 1/125 is a safe setting, which means the camera will get sharp photos and it'll cancel out any lens shake. What's also handy is this lens has stabilization. This lens is linked in the description below, and I have done reviews on it if you would like to go and check them out. But it has stabilization, meaning I don't have to worry too much about camera shake. Next, we have the f-stop. And this lens, being a prime lens, has an f-stop of 2.8. That's the lowest, or the largest, the aperture can be. So having an f-stop of 2.8 means loads of light can get into the camera. That means I can make the most of this low light day. Finally, ISO has to vary. Depending on the situation, it's been as high as 800 and it has been at 100. The ISO, generally speaking, sits around 200 to 400, but I try and keep it as low as possible. The ISO will sometimes have to go higher, and if it does, the camera should be able to cancel it out relatively well. Any higher than 1600 is getting a bit risky, and I can hear, I believe, a jay out in that forest. Now, as I've mentioned a few times, it has been wet, and it likely will get wetter. But look at this. This river has completely flooded the bank. It's normally about here. It's quite a small stream. Here we have some long-tailed tits over there. I believe we've got some goldcrest over here. There's a lot of little birds. They're all flying around everywhere. Now, this lens was not the best choice. It was when it comes to the lighting, but I'm missing my 600mm of zoom. Working with only 100 means I really can't get close enough to these little birds to get a good photo. I just can't get close enough. I was hoping if I hunkered down they'd come closer to me, but they're not, so we're going to move on, see if we can find something else. And if it wasn't challenging enough, it's just started raining. So I'm gonna have to put the camera away to keep it safe. I'm also gonna change this enormous warm jacket to a raincoat. Fingers crossed, the rain won't stick around too long because I really want to get some cool photos today. My guy's just started a leaf blower behind me. I hope that isn't too unpleasant for your ears. And with the rain coming on heavier every minute, there was only one thing left to do. We might as well go home with a smile, even though we didn't get many wildlife photos. So let's just have fun in the rain. I'm wearing some awesome weatherproof boots, which I managed to get half price the other day, which is pretty cool. I'll link them in the description. These boots mean I can walk in mud, I can walk anywhere, in anything, and it's perfectly fine. These boots are gorgeous. They've got padding all around, pillows up the ankles and for the toes. They're warm, and I would highly recommend. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape or form. I bought them out of my own money, and I would do the same again. So, highly recommend. Links in the description. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.